Starting off this countdown, we have carcinogens in cosmetics. Turns out that the stuff that most of us put on our face daily is actually hazardous for our health. A couple of months ago, traces of asbestos were found in eyeshadow and concealer. Asbestos is known to cause cancer. Not only that, but talc is also found in trace amounts in eyeshadow and concealer, and lead is sometimes found in trace amounts in lipsticks and eyeliners. The worst products though are waterproof mascara, liquid lipsticks, and long wear foundation. These are the three main products found to have the strongest cancer-causing properties. It's because these products are made up of forever chemicals. Forever chemicals are a group of synthetic chemicals that are used to make the products waterproof or last long. They also contain PFAs, a highly toxic fluorinated chemical, and they aren't even put on the packages as a warning, and that is scary. In our 9th spot, we have glycol ethers. Glycol ethers are another dangerous chemical found in cosmetics, as well as cleaning products and paints. Imagine that, cleaning your home being like, this will be better for me. Meanwhile, you're putting yourself at more of a risk. Anyways, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, glycol ethers is commonly found in cleaning products, liquid soaps, and cosmetics. But they are also found in degreasers, aerosol paints, adhesives, sunscreens, inks, and dyes. Short-term exposure can cause serious kidney and liver damage, along with necrosis and pulmonary edema. Long-term exposure causes tremors and neurological and blood effects. So make sure to check the label when buying your products to prevent buying something with this chemical. Moving on to number 8, we have phthalates. Phthalates are chemicals used to help scents and chemicals bind together. They are found in shampoos, conditioners, perfumes, hairsprays, colognes, soaps, nail polish, you name it. They're even found in shower curtains, food packaging, and vinyl flooring. Well, it's found that exposure to this chemical can cause liver, kidney, lung, and reproductive damage. Not only that, but it can cause brain damage and lower your IQ. It's scary because we all use these products on the daily. Now, one way to avoid contact with this is to get unscented products, avoid microwaving your food in plastic, and not buying any plastic items labeled as number 3, number 6, or number 7. Those are the ones that contain this toxin. In our 7th spot, we have lead. Now, if you have a newer home, then you don't need to worry about this. But before 1978, houses were being painted with lead-based paint. That was before they found out how dangerous this was. Obviously, lead-based paints are banned today, but if you have an older home, you need to make sure that your walls weren't painted with it. It's said that 38 million homes in America still have lead-based paint. That is insane. Even exposure to low levels of this can cause brain and kidney damage and puts women at an increased risk of miscarriage. The hazard comes from when the paint chips off and creates lead dust that you then breathe in on the daily. In fact, this is the most common source of lead poisoning. In our 6th spot, we have antiperspirants. Nobody likes sweaty or stinky pits, which is why deodorant was invented. But the thing that blocks the sweat in antiperspirants is aluminum. Exposure to aluminum can cause breast cancer as well as severe memory loss. It can also cause brain disease and nervous system problems. The best way to avoid this is by looking for natural deodorants, which sucks because you're still gonna sweat, but at least you won't smell bad and you're not poisoning yourself. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with polytetrafluoroethylene. Say that 10 times fast. This chemical can be found in non-stick pans, which are hella convenient, but if used wrong, they can be hella deadly. So apparently if you use your pan at high temperatures, the Teflon coating on the pan will break down and it will emit a toxic gas. When you inhale those fumes, it can cause polymer fume fever, aka Teflon flu. More serious cases of this can lead to lung damage and reproductive problems. A way to avoid this would be cooking on low heat and avoid getting your pans scratched, or just use stainless steel or iron skillets instead. Coming in at number 4, we have the pesticides, but we all know about this one already. Pesticides are sprayed on crops to avoid bugs from eating them. As a result, it contaminates our food, soil, and water supply. which is one of the reasons why you learn to wash off your fruits and veggies before eating them. It's to wash off any residue from the pesticides. But we still end up coming in contact with them. This can cause birth defects, cancer, kidney and liver and lung damage, among other things. Some pesticides also act as an endocrine disruptor and have been proven to harm animals and humans. The people most at risk to pesticides are the young or pregnant or nursing women. In our third spot today we have air pollution. I mean, this one is a given. Air pollution, even at low levels, has a great impact on human health. Obviously, air pollution is caused by the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, or gas. Breathing in polluted air can lead to lung disease, cancer, heart disease, or heart problems, increased hospitalizations, and premature death. It also has a negative impact on our skin as well, but you know what, that's nothing compared to heart disease or cancer. In fact, a study found that 1/3 of deaths from stroke, lung cancer, and heart disease were due to air pollution. Like, that is insane! In fact, it's about on the same page as smoke and tobacco. And it's more dangerous than the effects of having a crappy diet. It's scary because this is something that we can't control. Like, we can exercise and eat healthy, but we can't control the air that we breathe in. I mean, we can, don't pollute, but still. In our second spot, we have mercury. Mercury is a naturally occurring element that is very dangerous to humans. And it's scary, but we are potentially exposed to it on the daily. For example, some fish contain mercury, so eating too much fish can actually lead to mercury poisoning. Mercury poisoning symptoms can include muscle weakness, kidney problems, and brain and lung damage. Other sources of mercury are found in silver-colored dental fillings, fluorescent light bulbs, and thermometers. But the light bulbs and thermometers are only a hazard if they break open. Exposure to mercury can also cause central nervous system issues, impaired vision, paralysis, and immune system complications. And in our number one spot today we have polybrominated diphenyl ethers. Scarily enough, this chemical is found in most baby care products. Why? Well, this chemical is used as a flame retardant, aka it slows down the speed of a flame. So they're in high chairs, cribs, and strollers. So every day your child might be exposed to this chemical. Not only that, but it's found in televisions, computers, insulation, sofas, pillows, and mattresses. Yes, the thing you lay on and sleep on daily. And mattresses contain high levels of this. The health problems associated with this chemical are brain and reproductive damage, thyroid problems, and neurological disorders. Starting off this countdown, we have VX, or venomous agent X. With a name like that, you know this chemical compound is no good. So this is a very deadly nerve agent that was created in the 1950s by the British military. It's so deadly that a dose as low as 10 milligrams can kill people. So this chemical can enter the body through inhalation, or it can be easily absorbed into your skin. If you do come in contact with it, it will disrupt the signals between your nervous system and muscular system so that your muscles in your body will become paralyzed, including your diaphragm, stopping your ability to breathe and slowly killing you through asphyxiation. Does not sound like a pleasant way to go, that's for sure. In our ninth spot today we have botulinum toxin, and I apologize if I pronounce any of these really confusing chemical names. Okay, don't come for me, I'm trying. This is said to be one of the most dangerous chemicals in the world. In fact, it's the most lethal poison known to man. It's so toxic that 1 gram of this toxin can kill more than 1 million people. Yes, only 1 gram. That is insane. Basically, if you're exposed to it, then it will paralyze your muscles and can stop your heart and or respiratory system from working. Funnily enough, this chemical is used in Botox. Yes, they use it because of its ability to paralyze muscles. So it was first discovered back in 1895 by a Belgian professor. So he was the first to isolate the bacterium Clostridium botulinum. I mean, I am cheating here since the substance is produced naturally, but scientists did take that bacteria and then manipulate it and then had the idea to use it for Botox. In our 8th spot we have chlorine trifluoride. This substance was created in the 1930s by scientists Otto Ruff and H. Krug. And guess what? This substance can cause anything to burst into flames on contact, and the fire cannot be extinguished. or it can cause a full-blown explosion. Like, it has been known to catch asbestos on fire. Asbestos is one of the most fire-retardant substances in existence, so that says something right there. As a result of this, the Nazi Party took great interest in this. They wanted to have their soldiers use it to melt through their enemies' bunkers, but after doing more tests on it, they found it to be very unstable and too much of a risk to take. They'd probably end up hurting themselves before hurting their enemies. Moving on to number 7, we have hydrofluoric acid. This next chemical was created by adding sulfuric acid to fluorite at a high temperature. It was discovered in 1771 by a Swedish pharmaceutical chemist, Carl Wilhelm Steele. He was doing tests on calcium fluoride and ended up creating this acid. This acid has been known to cause terrible burns if exposed to the skin. It literally will cause these burns in an instant. Not only that, but it's deadly if you inhale its vapors. This can irritate your respiratory system and can cause pulmonary edema. This is a condition caused by excess fluid in the lungs, which can lead to heart and breathing problems. Pulmonary edema can also be fatal. In our 6th spot, we have phosgene. This is another chemical said to be one of the most dangerous in the world. It was first created in 1811 by a German Jewish chemist named Fritz Haber. He was actually given the name the father of chemical warfare, and he's quite a controversial figure in history. That's because the creation of this led to the death of thousands during the world wars. A small concentration released into the air is enough to kill a person. So after immediate exposure, it will cause its victims to cough profusely. It will cause irritated watery eyes, blurred vision, irritation of the respiratory tract, and a burning sensation in the throat. After that, they might feel fine, but the next day they will die of choking from buildup of fluid in the lungs. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with dimethyl cadmium. This is another one of the world's most toxic chemicals. It was created in 1917 near the end of the First War. A German chemist named Erich Krause was doing experiments on a number of chemicals and ended up creating dimethyl cadmium. This chemical is highly toxic and reactive. It's also very deadly. Inhaling only a few micrograms can lead to cadmium metal poisoning, which will then lead to death. It also has very damaging effects on one's liver and kidneys. Moving on to number 4, we have the piranha solution. With a name like that, you know it's gotta be scary. In fact, it gets its name because it can easily eat through organic matter. This solution is created by mixing hydrogen peroxide with sulfuric acid. So not only is it extremely dangerous to touch, but it can easily explode. And it has been known to irritate one's respiratory tract if inhaled. Both its liquids and vapors are extremely corrosive to one's skin and respiratory tract. It can burn the eyes and destroy one's mucous membranes. In our 3rd spot, we have dimethyl mercury. This is a very dangerous and toxic chemical compound. It was created by George Buckton in 1857 by reacting methyl mercury iodine with potassium cyanide. And this created a very deadly substance. In fact, a small drop of this can lead to mercury poisoning. Take the case with chemist Karen Wetterhahn, for example. In the late 90s, Karen was studying the effects that dimethyl mercury had on living organisms. While running some tests, she dropped a bit of chemical onto her glove. What she didn't know is that it can easily permeate through her latex gloves within 15 seconds. And even a small drop is enough to cause mercury poisoning. Sadly, that's what happened, and she ended up slipping into a coma before passing away 10 months later. Coming in at number 2, we have sarin. Sarin was created in 1938 in Germany by scientists who were trying to create a stronger pesticide. In the end, they created sarin, a very toxic nerve gas that has the ability to kill people in minutes. During initial exposure, you might experience tremors or seizures. Then soon it will paralyze your lungs and body. It kills you through suffocation as your lungs become paralyzed. Then you'll lose control of your bodily functions, and you get it, it's not pretty. As a result, this is said to be a potential weapon of mass destruction. And over the years, the government has done some pretty nasty sarin gas experiments on people, like in 2013 with the attack on Syria that took the lives of more than 1,400 people. And in our number 1 spot today, we have fluoroantimonic acid. This is said to be the strongest acid in the world. To give you an example of how acidic it is 10 quadrillion times stronger than sulfuric acid. This acid can easily burn right through plastic and glass. If you touch it, well, it will will melt the skin right off your bones. How fun is that? It was created by combining hydrogen fluoride with antimony pentafluoride, and I can't imagine how that went. Like, it can react violently to water. Heating it is dangerous and it can destroy beakers. Guess they discovered that out all through trial and error.
Kicking off the list at number 10, formaldehyde. You may have heard this one before at one point or another, but formaldehyde is all over your house. Spoiler alert. You might just not know it. It's commonly found in cleaning products, lotions, cosmetics, lots of shampoos, definitely a lot of shampoos. Next time your phone's dead and you catch yourself reading the back of those labels and you're doing one of these, keep an eye open for this one. Formaldehyde is a strong smelling, colorless gas, also commonly found in building materials. So it's in there, which is here, and also over there. Not great, don't breathe that in. It's literally in your home, you can find this stuff. It's in plywood, glues. Formaldehyde is also found in tobacco smoke. So next time you're breathing in that secondhand smoke, remember that. And be like, sorry guys, I don't smoke. You don't have to do it like that sassy, but just let them know. A study found that higher levels of formaldehyde are bound to the DNA in white blood cells if you do smoke. So if you need another reason to quit, there it is. Number 9, flame retardants. The less house fires we have, the better, right? That's where flame retardants come in. They are these chemicals added to furniture so that if a fire were to start, it wouldn't act as fabulous flint. Instead, these retardants are added to slow it down. You can't drop a lit cigarette on your couch and then 34 seconds later, you don't have a home anymore. You can't be doing that, all because you gnawed it off. No way. Since the 70s, these were added to furniture, and you can find it now in mattresses, couches, blinds, curtains, carpets, anything that looks cozy, essentially. Odds are, it's very flammable. While it's great that we're not starting fires as much, we're still hurting the environment now. Many flame retardants have been removed from the process because they don't break down after their initial use. These chemicals can build up in people or animals over time. It's not good, you don't want any of that here. Number 8, chloroform. This one we've heard about also in one way or another. We've seen it in movies and stuff. Chloroform, if you inhale this, you're going to sleep quite fast. It's no good. Is chloroform out there just hidden in plain sight? I included it in this list. This is kind of concerning. Well, according to the EPA, yes, chloroform is out there all around us, but don't worry about getting knocked out on your way to work. It's not that strong. Chloroform is often released into the air through bodies of water. It's the chlorination of wastewater, pools, and breathing it in can lead to liver problems. Chloroform is created when chlorine mixes with organic compounds. Back in 2002, there was a study done to measure the levels of chloroform in public swimming pools, and there was enough of the chemical to link to miscarriages. Yeah, not great. Number 7, non-ilphenols. Remember the Tide Pod challenge when we had to launch a global campaign to get adults not to chew on laundry detergents? That was a good time, that was classic. Don't do that. If you're thinking about it and you've ever thought about it, don't. I don't know what you need to see. Don't ever do that. Well, those common deadly substances, as we all learned about via Twitter, was non-ilphenols. They're more often than not found in laundry detergent or other hygiene products that we don't eat. Don't eat any hygiene products, period. The EPA has discovered that this chemical can lead to reproductive problems in rodents. A huge concern for the release of these chemicals is also in the aquatic system. NP, its shorter name, which I should have brought up at the beginning of this point, has also been detected in human breast milk, urine, and blood. Number 6, triclosan. Now we gotta worry about toothpaste harming us. Come on, that's not cool. Brushing is more fun than ever these days with the whole, charcoal toothpaste. What a time to be alive. We love trendy mouth care. The antimicrobial chemical triclosan has been banned by the FDA, and it's an ingredient often added to consumer products in order to reduce bacterial contamination. And it was often found in soaps, body washes, cosmetics, and toothpaste. Now, it's been removed from most of this stuff, but in a 2017 study by the journal Environmental Science and Technology, triclosan can build up over time on your toothbrush, while it's sitting in that dirty SpongeBob SquarePants coffee mug that you've had for 17 years. Yeah, give it a rinse, maybe. It builds up, and over time it can absorb into your bloodstream every time you brush, putting your gut and hormones at risk. It's actually highly toxic to fish, even though Canada's Federal Health and Environment Ministries say that it's safe for humans. It's not great. Aquatic organisms are at risk here. Stop. I'm like, stop brushing your teeth? I don't know the solution here. I don't know that much. I can tell you what it is, but I don't know the solution. Comment down below. Number 5, DEET. Being a Canadian, I'm forced into the outdoors a lot. Friends with cottages always want to go up, and I'm not a fan of mosquitoes. I'll stay in the water the entire time or inside. Yeah, I'll just beat them and be like, I'm not going outside. I'm a Sudoku guy now. Just to avoid mosquitoes. I don't like it. I can't do it. And I know I'm not alone here. I just hold on to the bug spray the entire time of the entire trip. That ingredient used to keep those pests away is called DEET. Now, on one hand, it wards away whatever's trying to take a bite from you, but on the other hand, literally, if you use enough of it, you'll develop rashes. DEET toxicity isn't common. It usually happens when you fool around with this kind of stuff. Spray it into your mouth or your eyes and stuff like that. Enjoy the outdoors, I guess, but do so responsibly. Also, if you go outside and you like outside, just stop. Be inside, play video games, be a hermit. It's too cold out there. I don't like it. Number 4, poison ivy. They always say leaves of 3, let them be, but you know what I say, if you're not sure, don't touch anything in the world ever. That's my rule. You can follow that. It doesn't rhyme yet, but we'll work on it. Poison ivy is found all over the United States, more commonly in the eastern states, and we of course have lots up here in Canada. I've been a victim to poison ivy before. I'll tell you, it only takes one time. The itchy rash that you get after you touch that part of the plant is caused by urushi oil. Now this oily resin is stored in the leaves. Now one time my friend put that leaf and rubbed it all over his face because it was like a hairy leaf and he was intrigued by this. He was like, oh, it's soft, so I'm gonna do this. Yeah, he went to emergency. His face didn't look great. Scariest thing I ever seen. Don't touch poison ivy. Also, don't inhale smoke from this plant too. If you're thinking about burning it, and maybe that'll solve the problem, sure, but just plug your nose and run far away. Also, don't light any fires, please. Thanks. Number 3, holly. 'Tis the season. Okay, let's talk about it. When I hear about holly or jolly or holly and jolly, I think of something delicious, right? All the songs, like I have a holly jolly Christmas. It's like, yummy. These are not delicious. If you're seeing red looking berries anywhere, just don't eat them. The American holly is pretty common. It's actually now an ornament for the holidays. The American holly, aka the Ilex opaca, is a tasty treat for birds, but if you see them eating these berries, don't copy them. They can eat poison pellets all day long and be fine. They can fly. Can we fly? No, don't eat berries. If we ingest holly, we're welcoming an alarming amount of toxins. One being illicin, which is a good way of, vomiting and having nausea and all that nasty normal stuff. Now normally I wouldn't include holly on a list like this because it's not too bad or common, but like I said, 'tis the season. Number 2, asbestos. Have you ever made the leap of faith and explored your own attic? You get the broom and push it up and you're like, I know it, there's ghosts in there, I feel it, I hear them at night. It's usually creepy, dark, cold, and boring. It's just a wall of pink fluff, usually pink insulation. Asbestos is a natural mineral made of these thin fibers, and its primary use was for fireproofing, and its origins and use date back to the 1st century. It was used mainly as an insulator, and due to its fibers being so fine and heat resistant, that's why it looks all fluffy, it could be added to cement, paper, or cloth, you name it, in order to make them more durable. Its dangers weren't widely known until the late 80s. That's when the EPA banned the use of asbestos. That's because if you breathe it in, you're getting lung cancer, essentially. Not all the time, but you're definitely opening the door to lots of lung cancer. Houses built before the 80s have a higher chance of exposure to asbestos hiding in your walls, and most importantly, your insulation. It's a rare type specifically due to asbestos insulation called mesothelioma. More than 39,000 Americans lost their lives a year because of asbestos-related disease, so it's pretty common. Also, another reason to not go in your attic. There you go, you can tell them I sent you. Number 1, arsenic. The deadly poison that supposedly took out George III of England and Napoleon Bonaparte. What is arsenic and why have we heard of this before? It's incredibly toxic in its inorganic form, but arsenic is a natural component in the ground, so it causes these contaminated waters, which leads to arsenic poisoning. That's how it happens, it comes from the ground. So most of the time what you're getting out of this whole deal is skin cancer. Arsenic has an LD50 around 13 milligrams, so the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry has arsenic on its priority list of hazardous substances. It's a top dog. Exposure to toxic metals is still a common problem that we're facing today. We can find arsenic in seafood, rice, or cereal now. So keep your eye open. Yeah, you'd think finding shrimp tails in your cereal is horrible enough. Now we gotta worry about arsenic. It comes naturally from water, soil, and bedrock, most commonly in the Midwest United States and areas of Texas. And at one point in time, they used to make arsenic dresses. It was like green colored dresses. It was really flammable and it was green and it just was all bad. If you inhaled it, you were just getting poisoned. You'd foam at the mouth, your eyes would turn green. It was bad. Arsenic, terrible.